Hmm. Ah, this health potion is some good stuff. Now, if only I could decipher this. Oh, didn't see there. So, we're at part 3 of Dragon's Blood Mead. Exciting. What I'm going to start by doing is taking our 2 carboys, which I want to say is a solid 2 gallons, if not slightly less. After we leave the lease at the bottom, we'll probably have maybe 1 gallon and 7/8 if I had to take a guess. But normally I would put it in a gallon pitcher, but I'm going to put it in the 2 gallon bucket, obviously sanitized and ready to go. And then from there we'll transfer it over, and that way any lease that we leave at the bottom of these, we don't really have to worry about when we take it out of the bucket to bottle it. The last thing you want to do is risk any sediment or lees or anything at the bottom getting into your finished product, your bottled mead or whatever alcohol you're doing. It may not do much to the taste, but it will make appearances less than ideal. So to avoid that, a lot of people will have a bottling bucket or pitcher or whatever, and they'll do a transfer or racking from their secondary into their final bottling bucket. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do. So what we're going to go ahead and start with is our auto siphon. Make sure it's complete. Has the thing down at the bottom. That'll just help any sediment that hits this line, the bottom of this won't actually go in. It can go a little bit into it. I usually don't like to do that, but if you want to play around and tempt fate, go for it. Of course, we have our hose or tubing, whatever you want to call it, and we're going to use both of those to rack. If you're new to this channel or mead making or any sort of alcohol making, super basic. Then after we rack and we go ahead and bottle, we'll use these 2 same things, and we'll connect it to a bottling wand. And in case you didn't see, the bottling wand has a little black tip, so when it's depressed, it actually lets out the fluid. So that's really nice for when you're sticking into a bottle, pressing down and letting fluid rise up. You basically just do it until it gets to the top of the bottle, pop it back out. When you do that, it'll stop flowing. And then the really cool thing is the amount of volume that this takes up is like the perfect amount for your bottle to be filled out. If you fill it full and then take this out, it'll leave just enough room with a little extra for your cork to go in. Obviously, you don't want your you do not want your cork to be touching liquid. You don't want to put it in so that it, how should I say this, is so tight that there's no air in there at all. Obviously, the liquid will touch cork at some point, and that's completely fine. It's meant to. But if you leave no air in there, if anything happens, a temperature change or anything, that liquid could expand and pop the cork out. If you didn't kill all your yeast, then that can happen too. One time I was bringing a bottle of mead or wine to someone's house, and I had it in my car. It got really hot. It was the summer, and the cork just popped out. Luckily, it didn't spill, so that was a plus. But you know, obviously I couldn't give it to that friend. So yeah, just make sure that you account for those different changes. Anyway, let's go ahead and connect this. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and stick that in the bucket so that it's all the way down. Okay, sorry, I didn't want to keep recording while I fiddled around with 2 gallons of this delicious looking mead here. It really does look like blood. I'll actually show you in just a second. I don't remember if in the last video we went over the gravity. I'm sure we did. I honestly haven't watched the last video. This has been sitting for like a solid month. I don't remember when we racked it, but I did see on my notes that it was initially started on the 13th of November. Today is the 2nd of January, or when I'm recording this. Hopefully I can get this out today, we'll see. But I don't remember what the gravity is. The gravity started at, I want to say it was 1.140, which is crazy high. So let's find out what the alcohol is. All right. Oh, you know what I forgot is the hydrometer. Hold on. There. Perfect. Wow. So you can't see it, but it is reading 1.020, which means, well, I'm not even going to try to tell you what that is. It may be 16% alcohol. It's quite a bit. Let me just check my notes real quick. Yeah, so it was 1.140 when we started, and it's 1.020. I'm gonna guess 16%. You're gonna go ahead and see the answer of what the alcohol content is down below. 20, not as sweet as I'd like it, but it's still sweet. It's not a sack mead, but it'll still be enjoyable as a dessert mead. Okay, I thought I could find a glass in my cupboard. Unfortunately, I don't have one, so I guess I'm gonna have to use more magic. Perfect. So it is living up to its name, Dragon's Blood. Pretty excited. Smells delicious. But we're gonna save that for later, till the end of the video. don't skip ahead, please. We have 8 bottles. I think it's going to fill about 7. I just have a spare one just in case. We're going to go ahead and fill these up using our bottling wand that we discussed earlier, and I'll come back when they're full to go over the next steps. I finished bottling, and hey, what can I say? I was wrong. I'm not angry about it. It happens. I'm fallible. You know, mystic mages aren't always correct. So I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you that, to my delight, I estimated 7.5 bottles. I got 9 full bottles, so I'll take it. Now, in the case that you do have 7.5 or any extra left over in a bottle, I would personally go ahead and just set that aside to drink, you know, soon. I wouldn't put something away that isn't full. I have them all filled up to, you know, their neck about. But if they were, say, down here, just drink it, you know. You're gonna drink it anyway, why not just get that one first? Anyway, let's go ahead and start corking. What I've done is filled up a Tupperware with some Star Stand, as I always do, and of course put 9 corks in there so that it gets them, you know, nice and wet / sanitized. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just using a hand towel. There's no reason to have a Halloween hand towel, but it's just what I grabbed. And of course, the reason I do that is because you're putting force on the bottle. Now, say something happens and the bottle lifts up. The last thing you want is for it to come down right on top of whatever you're working on. I have granite countertops, so if it, you know, does that, it's not going to break the bottle. Last thing anyone wants to do is ruin their bottles. So let's go ahead and fast forward this, and you can just see the process at 2 times speed. This would be a good point to stop and do a little contest. In the next video, I will give a shout out to whoever can tell me which Dragonborn mask I have in the background there. A little Skyrim lore here for you. Good luck. Okay, all of our bottles are corked. I normally don't use clear bottles, but I basically tore the label off of another one carefully so that I could use a bottle of wine that someone brought over. Clear is cool just because you can see the color, but don't expose it to sunlight. From what I understand, it is bad for the alcohol, can produce off flavors, and just overall be bad for your beverage. So the next thing we're going to do is, if you want to use these, I use them for everything. You don't have to, and these are way too big for these bottles, but it's all I had, and my fermentation store is closed. So Unfortunately, you're not going to see me put labels on my bottles either, because they're the ones who I have print my labels for me. But you'll get the gist. You'll want to be prepared in advance with whatever you want to use. Corks, don't even try to bottle without corks. It's just not going to end up well. You can bottle without these. You can get these later. They're just for looks. And of course, labels, you can bottle without labels, but you don't even have to use them. If you're going to remember what bottles what, go for it. I need labels because my memory is awful. Obviously, because from like a month ago, I couldn't even tell you what the finishing gravity was on the Dragon's Blood Mead, and I'm almost positive I went over it, but who knows. Anyway, let's go ahead and get these on there. Okay, so we have piping hot water. Just gently tip it over. And I start with the first half, so it shrinks the first half, and then I can let go and dunk it all in there. What you'll want to do is be careful when you take it out, not to, this isn't shrinking very well, not to lift up by the neck. Do not hold the bottle by the neck. That did not shrink very well. Part of the problem is because these are too big for the bottle. I can get it to shrink all the way, but doing this is just not going to work. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is heat up a small pot of water and just dunk it in there when I have it to boiling. That way I don't have to keep using the microwave. We'll be back. We'll be back afterward. But yeah, don't ever hold it by the neck after it's been in the hot, because you have liquid that is probably fairly cool, 70 degrees, and then you have 212 degree water, and touching glass. I had it happen once where I lifted up the neck of the bottle after dunking in hot water, and basically it just popped right off. I mean, just a clean split of the glass. So don't do that. So it's on there, looks clean, looks good. I mean, it met my expectations for what I wanted it to look like. Obviously, you can have a drink that looks amazing. You can call it whatever and have it look like that specific thing, in this case, Dragon's Blood. Never slayed a real dragon. But if I did, I would imagine that this is what the blood would look like. Certainly smells good. It's good. It's very good. Obviously, we put in a fair amount of honey. The cherries are extremely present. I mean, we did use almost exclusively cherry juice in this. And of course, I forget what size bag, maybe it was 8 ounces of dragon fruit. So that is definitely present as well. It's not overpowering, of course, but I mean, it's really good stuff. It's not a typical Viking blood. The thing that differentiates it is the cherries, the amount, and of course the dragon fruit. So it really lives up to its name. And if you make this and follow my videos, I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. Have a great day.